stood out to you the most through your evaluations?
Oh, trying to think who I had ranked at the top of it. I personally love Malik Willis. I think he's got a huge upside. Now, again, and I try to say this on the channel quite a bit, but so much of this is luck about where you end up. I think Kenny Pickett is potentially in a really good situation because that organization over the long term has proven that they're stable. They have stable ownership, stable head coach. There might be transition on the coaching side as far as who's calling the plays, but that organization has proven over the years that they're a sound, stable, winning championship culture. And so not everybody is in that situation, as opposed to someone maybe like Desmond Ridder, who's in a spot where he might get a chance to play. I'm not sure the Falcons, what their roster looks like as far as competing with everyone else, but the NFC South is tough with Tampa Bay. And so all these guys are in different situations, whether it's Howell, Carroll with the Panthers, those guys, all those situations, none of those situations are great for a quarterback. That's the thing where you look at a guy like Trey Lance, maybe, where you're like, these guys moved up to get him. They identified him. They went and got him. That roster is a Super Bowl caliber roster. None of these other young guys are coming into really a Super Bowl caliber roster, maybe with the exception of the Tennessee Titans. But, obviously Tannehill is probably going to play at least for the significant future. And so the outlook for this class is just different than what I think the expectations were for the previous class.
So Corral is an interesting case in Carolina, and you mentioned him kind of briefly there because he's a third-round pick, and obviously third-round picks are more so as like backup quarterback roles, or at least that's what the team kind of intends in the first place, because otherwise they would have invested higher draft capital in the quarterback. But the Panthers aren't really trying to compete this year. They still have Darnold under contract for a year. So does it really behoove them to play Corral at some point during the season, even though they've kind of got like a mishmash of quarterbacks on the roster and a new offensive coordinator in Ben McAdoo?
Yeah, I don't have a good answer, and I'm not going to pretend to know what the hell the Carolina Panthers are doing. They're fixing to be in all sorts of trouble, and so it's one of those things where they obviously identified Carroll as their guy this round, and are going to stick with Sam and see what happens and let that whole thing compete. But that thing sure has the potential to go sideways really quick and probably see a significant amount of change in that organization over the next calendar year.